Try and share this around here so people will see it. I mean, it's really early in the morning, so I don't know if anyone's gonna see it, but I mean, maybe later. Anyways, hi. Hello. Anyone that is watching. I don't think anyone actually is. I'll post it. Why not? I'll post it here. Why not? I'll post it wherever I can. Just wherever I can post it, just to get some people to see it, maybe. I don't know. You know, it's something. Maybe people will see it. I don't know. Anyways, I guess I should probably introduce this, thing. Oh, I should post on Instagram, too. That'd be helpful. Or maybe I'll do that a little bit. I don't know. Anyways. So this is, a new podcast I'm doing. Yes. So the Meme Squad podcast, it came and went. It didn't really. It was fun. It was funny when we actually got time to do it. You know, like I enjoyed the Meme Squad podcast. It had some funny moments, like some really funny moments. But like it wasn't really. It wasn't really the problem. The problem I always had was I wasn't really that focused a lot of the time. A lot of the time it was just like us spouting memes and shit posting, which is great. But for a whole podcast of that, that's a bit, it's a bit kind of eh. I don't know how that would really work. And also, I mean, I tried adding topics later on, trying to make things more organized and focused, but like it really didn't like help too much. That was one thing that I wanted to just try and fix up, was just trying to make the thing have a more general topic rather than just shit posting. It was gonna be like about chiptune mostly, but that kind of fell apart, just like the Meme Squad itself. Heyo. I should probably check my audio, make sure that's good. We'll check that briefly. Yeah, that's good. I could hear myself. More people are coming online, maybe people will see it. Who knows? So that was one thing. Just the fact that it was just it was just a messy first podcast. I want to do a new series of podcasts. I could do with friends and just by myself if I want to. It's gonna be about just gaming. Well, not gaming, but just games, just like technicalities and like history and like you know ranking games and categorizing them and more critical. It's a more critical game podcast thingamabobber. I don't know. I still don't have it planned out yet. I don't even have a name for it yet. I was kind of thinking because I did this around morning breakfast time, because I wanted to be like a breakfast gaming podcast as well. Because I'm a retard. I kind of thought my idea with the name was breakfast bits. I know it's fucking stupid, but I don't know. You guys try to think of a better name. What do you want this podcast to be called? So I made a picture of me looking at some eggs because it's breakfast, and yeah, it looks really shitty, but that's my art style. There you go. So that's really it. I guess I could talk about breakfast a little bit. So this morning I tried doing just regular old bacon and eggs, just something simple. I've been trying to cook more often, and because cooking is actually something I kind of enjoy. So I've been trying to do it more often, learn how to do it, you know, learn proper technique and all that good stuff. It turned out really shitty though. This morning, um, I think I fucked up the bacon and eggs because the bacon kind of like didn't have much flavor, and the eggs. I mean, the eggs were fine because I put like fucking salt and pepper on them. That makes them all better. But like, I don't even know how I cooked them actually, because I kind of like. Here's the thing, I'm probably gonna sound like a fucking monster for saying this, but I don't like the yolk. I don't like the just the yolk on its own, like when it's really runny. I just think it's kind of gross. Personally, I know people love it, but I hate it. Well, not hate it, but I just don't like it too much. So I cooked that, but I guess I technically would have done them over hard. I think is the correct way to call it, but I just kind of like it just turned out really shitty. It didn't taste that great. I just kind of I don't know. I want to try and find a better way to improve my cooking skills sometime, like looking up recipes, because I did it just all on my own. I just fucking like just eyeballed it and just like, okay, let's just do it like this and see if it fails or not. And it kind of failed. But that's how it be sometimes. And yeah. Sorry. Yeah, boy. But yeah, I'll definitely try and improve my cooking later on. Cooking. I'm talking really fast. I apologize. Try to improve that because I definitely want to learn how to cook better, how to cook different things other than just breakfast. I want to do all that good stuff. And yeah, and I'm gonna be having this podcast themed around that and around games, of course, and the technical, critical aspects of it and all that stuff. I've probably been saying all that stuff too much, or like all that good stuff. I don't know. That's the thing with these podcasts. I'm not really that good at them because I can't really. I'm not really that interesting. I don't think. So this one's gonna be kind of a hard one to get through, probably because it's more of like a read off, honestly. But here's my point. Here's my plan for this podcast. Since this is the first one, this is the first ever podcast of this series. I'm looking at of course, the beginning of like console games, not like the very beginning of games. Cause like fucking that's boring shit. Like Tennis for Two, fucking Computer Space, bruh. That's like fucking no one cares. I'm talking about like the shit that like is familiar to us somewhat. So we're gonna home consoles. So we're gonna be kind of just comparing them and well, I guess kind of comparing them. I want to try and see which one will be my favorite. That's what I'm kind of do, and it's gonna be really shitty, but I'm gonna try and do that. So we're gonna try and find a winner, maybe. I don't know. That's the goal. That's the main idea, fellas. So let's get started, I guess. So it's gonna be kind of just mostly like a Wikipedia look through because I don't really have, like I said, this is like a very rushed podcast. I don't really have this planned, but I'll link the pages in the description when I'm done with this. But I'm just gonna kind of read through each thing and look at different examples of certain game systems and compare them and see what I like. So that's kind of just what it is. It's kind of a really shitty first podcast, but it's just kind of you gotta get things started somehow. So we're gonna do this, and I have other things planned too. We'll have like I want to do like a Namco tier list for one of my podcasts, and like a game draft and like other stuff. There'll be more fun stuff coming up. I just want to do this one just to get the series going. And there's still no one in chat. It's probably maybe I should do it later from now on and not like 7 o'clock. It might be a bad idea, but I don't know. I mean, my parents are gone, so it works. But whatever. Anyways, so we're gonna be looking at consoles pre-NES because NES is like still like NES is like still familiar to us. Like NES games are still being released. They're still like charming to most people. Like they're still like good. Like there's a reason why you still see like the NES app on Switch and sells all those games because they're just good games. And NES had good tech compared to a lot of other systems. So we're looking past that, or before that, rather. I don't know. We're going to look before that and look at the systems that predate the NES and which one topped them. And I already can probably think about which one that would. Which I could probably already predict what that would be. But let's just focus. Oh yeah, we'll talk about computers too, probably, because computers are cool. Okay, so we're gonna start in the first generation, which, according to Wikipedia, you know, well, this is like a well sourced thing. So it's like, you know what's good. I'm digressing. Apparently, it lasted from 72 to 83 is technically when it ended, which is a long ass time. I'm guessing it's probably because, just some systems just discontinued at that point, so it's like 83, good end there. But really, when I think of first generation, I think more of like early to mid 70s is what I'm more thinking. I also think a lot about Pong systems. This is what this generation mostly was. It was early consoles, so it was a lot of Pong systems. You got the Magnavox Odyssey, the first game system, the first home console ever. Probably, I think. That's what people say, so it's probably true. So you got those, and Magnavox, the company, made a lot of Pong systems. They did a whole series of them, and Pong systems were just all over the place. If I was trying to list all of them, it would be like impossible because there's just a ton. Like AVGN has a whole episode on it. You should watch it. It's hilarious, but it's a whole episode on fucking Pong system. Like there's a lot, and there's a lot. But look at the famous ones. There's the Sears Pong, which is like just, I think it was by the Atari. Atari made it. Like, Sears did it. Atari and Sears have like a weird relationship with each other. It's kind of strange. But like we'll try and get to it later on maybe. There's the Color TV game by Nintendo. That was their first system for systems. And those were Pong systems. Also had other games on it. Apparently, one of them had a racing game. That was, first game by Miyamoto. Apparently, I don't know how true this actually is. But we're just looking at. I honestly don't know. I really don't. I'm just looking at here on these pages, seeing which one sounds good. That's the thing. I don't plan this shit. That's the thing. I don't plan this shit. So that's why it's really shitty. But we're gonna try our best. So if it sounds wrong, I'll probably be like, that sounds fucking wrong. My fucking dog tip-tapping in the background. So we have the Color TV game by Nintendo. And I'll get some pictures of these too. So that probably would help to get some pictures. So we'll look at the Color TV games first. And these are, well, I don't want to play any videos because I'll probably link a bunch of fucking videos too. I don't want to do that. Or else I guess I just got a note document and just put them all in there. I don't know. Excuse me, I'm still a bit tired. It's early in the morning. I haven't got much sleep, or really any sleep at all. Ever since, like, afternoon yesterday. I've been, that's how it be. Okay. Let me just save this image. I'll save this image and I'll, like, get rid of it later. I don't want it anymore. Oh my god, I have that gravelly voice. Ugh. Okay. Here we go. So the Color TV game looked like this thing. It was by Nintendo. You can see there's a screenshot there, which is perfect. And it was like, I guess, instructions. They had like little pop-out controllers that you could like turn around. A lot of these game systems had knobs, which knobs were like, or like dials or whatever, paddles, which were really the best control methods for these games. Because for games like Pong, you need like really precise movements. That's why a lot of those systems had those. Because, well, it was also an arcade game too, so it made sense. So that's that. That's the TV game, color TV game. You gotta make sure that's color, not black and white. No, fuck black and white. It's color, baby. Hell yeah. So that's the first system. Well, not the first one, but just whatever. It's the one that we're talking about right now. So yeah, you can see by the screenshots, pretty much just like basic ass Pong. It looks pretty, pretty basic. How to basic. So that's that. And then we'll do the Clico Telstar, because that one might be my personal favorite, actually, because it's just, well, it's a fucking nightmare, that's what it is. It's a nightmare of game design. And this came out, I believe, it says 76, 70, it's like mid-70s, late 70s. And these things were, oh, wait a second, I'm thinking about the Telstar Arcade. Oh, the arcade, ooh, that one's a hoot. That one's a hoot. The graphics are like really basic. I won't even bother showing you screenshots. It's literally just fucking regular ass Pong. The Telstar was pretty simple. It's a Telstar. It is what it is. But well, I guess I'll show both of them, of course, so you know what I'm talking about. It'd probably help quite a lot, actually. Just the screenshots load. I'll just place one in here. So, you got the Telstar. This was like the one they made originally, and it's kind of a small image. Yeah, you can see it's pretty simple. It's wood grain, which a lot of things in that time period used. So wood grain, very stylish. I moved my image on accident. What the frick? There. And it has the dials again, so yeah. And of course it was just Pong, pretty much. Some of these systems had other options as well. Some other game options. Like some of them had like different sports, but different modes of Pong. Then you get the arcade, the Telstar Arcade, which is both beautiful and horrifying. And you'll see why in just a couple seconds, because, well, you need to see this shit for yourself. TheGameConsole.com is what's... TheGameConsole.com. What a wonderful website. So yeah, this thing looks like a disaster. It has cartridges, kind of. They're triangles, and they're silver. And the system itself is also a triangle. And there's a gun, like an actual fucking gun, and a steering wheel, and Pong paddles, and it's weird and horrible, but it's also kind of amazing for the time, because it's like, well, you got 3 games in one. You got driving, you got shooting, you got Pong. It's like, that was like the whole arcade at the time, pretty much. That was all you were getting. There was no Pac-Man at that time, no colorful fun games, just like Pong, shoot, drive. That's how it was. That's how it would be back in the day. So that's interesting. It's very, very strange, though. But that's how it be, of course. So it's Telstar Arcade. And that one might be my personal favorite, actually, because it's so fucking weird. But then we get... The other ones are not really that interesting. But then we get to the granddaddy. The big one. We got the Magnavox Odyssey, which was the very first game console probably ever, I'm guessing. It came out in 72, the same year as Pong in the arcades, so very, very old system. But, I'll be honest, this thing kind of sucks. It's not really a game system, as much as it is like just a white display on a TV. That's really what it is. And the thing looks kind of, well, the thing just kind of is a mistake. Well, I shouldn't call it that, because it's important, but it's like, the way it's designed is just not how a game system should be. Just save the picture here. So the Odyssey it's one of these things. And once again, sorry for the shitty picture. That's just how it has to be. And it has a little box with dials. They spin around like pong paddles. One of them was for vertical, one of them was horizontal. I don't remember which one was which, but one of them did one of those directions. And the thing looks like a giant box. And it's just like you had cartridges, but they're like little like slide-in like boards. They weren't even like really cartridges. They were like, I think they acted more like punch cards or something like that. They just told the game system to do something else, I think. Or did they do different lights or something? Because really all it did was show lights. It wasn't really games, it was just lights. But you had to like use your imagination for these kind of games. You know. Like, there was a Pong game, kind of, but it wasn't really Pong. It was just like a tiny square and two bigger squares. And like there wasn't even like proper physics. You can move wherever you want. It was just kind of really bad, and you had to like set your own rules and stuff. It's kind of like board games more than video games. You could like make your own rules. So it was also just left up to your imagination most of the time. You had little overlays as well, which you can find various places. Oh yeah, there's what's this one? The poker game, I think. Not poker, but like maybe. Oh, these are I guess for all the games. Okay, well it's gonna load. It's gonna be a bastard and load. Here we go. So this one has all the shit with it. That's a really large image. So it has like, there's like a bunch of cards and like there's like little chips for like, are those like, is that poker chips or like, is that what it is? I don't even know. There's like a board here and like there's like game cartridges, there's money, there's cards. It's just, you might as well be playing a board game at this point. It's like a board game with a TV. It's pretty much all it was. And now it's technically the first game system ever. But, I mean, it was important. It was revolutionary. And without it, we wouldn't have probably anything else today. You'd probably still be playing Pong in the arcades. Well, not even arcades, like in a fucking bar. So, gotta thank the Odyssey. Thank you, Odyssey. But you kind of suck. So, yeah. So I think my favorite out of all of them was probably the Telstar arcade out of those Gen 1 systems. The arcade just had the most variety from what I've seen. It was like, just like, you know, because it had the gun and it had a steering wheel to drive. It was like, you know, it embodied the arcade at the time. It was actually kind of neat, honestly. And if you want to see the AV Gen episode about Pong consoles, the arcade is featured in there. So you can look at it there. And yeah, that's really it. It was like the big ones. There's like a ton of these, but I don't want to go over all of them. We'll just consider that done for now. That's Gen 1. Gen 2 is much more interesting. That's where we're getting like technical specs and all that good stuff. I'll be right back. I gotta get some more water, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. If you're still leaving there, or if I'm leaving there, whatever. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I have water now. Alright, so now we come to Gen 2, which is when things start to get good, pretty much. You get the arcade scene gets bigger. This is, by the way, from 1976 to 1992, which is even longer than the first one, I'm pretty sure. So it was like 72 to 83, I think, or something. So that was like 11 years. This is like 14 years. Or no, 16 years. So, yeah, way longer. And just, well, like I said, this is when arcades are getting big. You get actually good games in arcades. You get like, you're getting your Space Invaders, your Pac-Mans, your Donkey Kongs. You're getting Donkey Kong. This is a fucking meme now. You got Donkey Kong, you got Mario Brothers later on, you got Dig Dug, Galaga, all the Namco classics, all the Atari classics, Asteroid Centipede, Sega stuff like Turbo and Pengo, and other ones I can't remember, like Head On, that's Sega, right? I can't remember anything else. So, oh, Zaxxon. How the fuck do I forget Zaxxon? What the hell's wrong with me? But you get a lot of those games, and those are like big games, like huge games, and people are trying to think, how can we get these games at home? So we get systems like in 76, the Fairchild Channel F, I believe, the 76, and it used cartridges. And the games themselves, I actually don't know much about them, but apparently they did have like Pong games that came out with them, kind of. They were called Hockey and Tennis. I don't really know for sure, but just, you know. I'll show you a picture, of course, but I'll try and find some gameplay too, or screenshots of gameplay. Here we go. This is a nice little image. The video game critic. It's like the video game nerd and the nostalgia critic. Alright. So we got, so these are what the games look like in the background. And you can see right there, they only use like 4 colors, a lot of them. But they are more closer to arcade games than stuff like the previous system. Because there's just like Pong things. But you can see here there's like tank games. It was like a space game, is like a submarine game, I think. So you got different types of games here. With actual pixel, like an actual display, not like lights. And the system, like I said, used cartridges. Like actual cartridges, not like the fucking weird things like the Odyssey did. You know, weird ass things. And the cartridges were like yellow, and they were kind of strange. They were all numbered. Very strange. The controllers were like little like knobs you'd push and twist and move around, kind of. They didn't seem that great, but yeah. I'll try to find good pics of the cartridges or pictures. Why did I say pics like a dumbass? Here's one. Here's one. And these had like multiple games on them too. These are like 2 games in one, I think, or some of them did, anyways. Put Pac-Man. The fuck? That can't be a license. It's like fucking like a bootleg or something. Or something. I just copied the name Pac-Man because it was popular. Here's what a game looks like. And it has like that fucking like Kraft cheese yellow shit to it. And it looks like kind of like an 8-track almost, I think, is what people compare them to. I've never really seen 8-tracks too much, but an 8-track taper. I guess, yeah, they kind of look similar. They're kind of like, 8-tracks kind of look like cartridges anyway, so it just makes sense. But these, like, they're like kind of like, they're like little mini monoliths, but they're yellow and plastic, and they have games. So, yeah, that's cool. That's neat. The games themselves are a bit more like real games, like the ones you play like nowadays, or like even like in the NES days. So we're getting there. We're getting there, but the Fairchild Channel F did has some issues. Like I said, only 4 colors. I don't know much about the specs too much, but I'll look through them briefly. I believe the sound is like really weird. If you ever go on Battle of the Bits, by the way, look up the music entries for the Favorite Child Channel Left. There's some weird, like, interesting songs on there for that system. Check it out; it's worth a look. Yeah, the sound, the audio is like just like a beeper almost. That's what I'm guessing. I think it's kind of like a beeper, but it says can be modulated to produce different tones. So, and yeah. Sorry, I went silent for a little bit, but yeah, go check out those songs. But also very small resolution, 120 by 64 pixels apparently is resolution. Depending on TV, it's like larger or smaller. So yeah, not a very powerful system for the time period. But I mean, actually for the time period, yes, but nowadays, no. Now we get to the bigger systems. We have the Atari, and the Atari, I won't even really show pictures of these because like these would be self-explanatory. Everyone should know what the fucking Atari is. Atari is basic shit. So you get the Atari, and the Atari was massive. It was huge. Atari was like closer to anything else to the arcades than to any other systems. Like it had much better graphics. It had like a better sound, and like its own sound hardware. It was actually like usable. It wasn't great, but it was usable. And I can't really find any information on the sound. The sound is it uses the TIA, the television interface adapter, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, that's what it stands for. I think I don't fucking remember, but yeah. So it uses that to make the sound, and the sound is 2 channels only, and like a bunch of various other sounds. Like you get square waves and noise waves, and like weird ass waves, weird ass waves. So you get that, and once again, go to Battle of the Bits and check out the TIA entries. There's some really cool songs on there for the Atari. Check them out. I really recommend it. There's some crazy good stuff on there you can do with the Atari. And the graphics are weird. I believe it's done by like line. Like you only have so many colors per line. Maybe I don't exactly know, but some games like did different things with it. It's like, you know, it's kind of odd. You know, it's just it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading. But I don't know where to go with this. But the graphics are just like, they're better than what was before. I'll say that much. They were more colorful, a lot of them. People know to use the consoles better because it was more like, I don't know, there's just more room to play with, I guess, more stuff to do with them. So for the Atari, fuck, I can't speak today. For the Atari, we got a lot of great games, and even some arcade ports. We got actual licensed ports for the Atari for the first time ever. We got stuff like Space Invaders. We were on Pac-Man, which kind of sucks, but we got Pac-Man, we got Miss Pac-Man, you got, Donkey Kong. A lot of the classics, Galaxian. You're getting those games on the Atari, and a lot of them were actually pretty good. You got Dig Dug, too, and Pole Position, and Frogger, and Cuber. You got some good games on there. Real games. Not just like Pong. You got actual good games here. And then we got the 5200. And now I should probably mention the computers briefly. It's just like a computer lightning round. So we had the VIC-20. And, what were the MSX fall? MSX is like 3rd generation, kind of. Or 2nd generation. I don't know. I'd say MSX is more third generation. That was where it was more popular. So we'll just not mention it here. But the VIC-20 was part of the second generation, I think, of games. And it used cartridges, but it was also a computer. It was mainly a computer. And it came out in, I think, 80, 81, maybe? Yeah, around that time period. And, it was, it was a computer. I'm trying to think it's all the same. I'm just kind of just going off, trying to think here. But, the VIC-20 went to the Commodore 64, which was a great computer. Had good graphics, good sound capabilities, a lot of great games. But the VIC-20 was kind of like a lesser version of it. The VIC-20 didn't have that good of graphics. It had like limited color, and it was kind of weird. I don't want to really get into the technical stuff. It's kind of boring. If you want to learn more, you can. But I'm just like, fucking, I don't really do care. I don't really care. Well, just the takeaway here is that VIC-20 is not as good as the Commodore 64. And the Commodore 64 was a lot better in some cases than a lot of other computers, or consoles even. The 64 had really good graphics for a lot of games. Like, really good graphics for a lot of the games. Like, Qbert has a great port for the Atari. Not Atari, but also Atari, but the Commodore as well. Commodore had a great port of Qbert. For the 64 anyways. So, you can look those up sometime if you want to. But, then you had the Atari 8-bit. And the Atari 8-bit had, like, arcade hardware. It was, like, used in the arcade games, I believe. So, you got the Pokey chip, which is actually used in several arcade games by Atari. And a much better graphics chip than, like, anything else around that time period, mostly. Besides the 64. But, like, it was a good graphics chip. It could do some really cool stuff. And, the Pokey chip was a really cool chip. Just because it was, like, closest to the NES out of all the other chips. Like, this was, like, I'd say the 8-bit computers are the closest thing to the NES, probably. Just because they have the capabilities to have these great graphics and sound. And look up some demos for the 8-bit and some music, because it's really, really impressive, a lot of stuff they can do in that system. But yeah, it was a good computer, good hardware. So they made the 5200 and that failed. And the reason why it failed was because of many things. Mainly the joysticks were terrible, but also just because it was during a time when there were too many games coming out in the US. I can make that clear, the US specifically. So in the US, there was the big video game crash. I was going to say fuck again, but I said fuck again anyways. There was the video game crash in 83, 82, 84, whatever, around the time period. And that was because there were so many games coming out, and people didn't know what was good, what was bad. So, it was hard to judge games at the time because there was just so much to look for, so much stuff. So, they released the Atari 5200, which had good hardware backing it up, but was just kind of just a repeat of the 8-bit line. It's kind of just what it was. And it wasn't enough for people to, like, really get hooked on it. And also just had really bad controllers and just didn't really have much games for it. So it just kind of failed. Just like that. And then we got this is kind of a weird one, the Bally Astrocade. That one's kind of strange. This one, I think, was meant to be more arcade accurate than other systems. It had, like, actual arcade sound, I think. And it had more advanced sound than other systems. And I don't know much about it. I'll show a picture of it, though. Let's see what it looks like. I don't even know what the controllers are. What is that thing? Is that a controller? I can't even tell. But, very strange little system. But apparently it has... I've seen some gameplay of some games. Apparently it has a really good port of Wizard of War, if you like that game. I'm not a really big fan of it, but this is what it looks like. And, yeah, I don't even know what the fuck that is. But, I'll show some gameplay. Why not? Or try to. Maybe. Fill load. Come on now. We'll just talk about other stuff then while this shit's loading. So this was just kind of like a, you know, apparently lasted for a good amount of time, like 5 years or so. But like, I don't think it really did that well. I think it was too expensive or something like that. Because it was better hardware. So that really didn't last very long. It didn't really do that well. But it had like arcade hardware, I believe. Or closer to arcade hardware. I'll just show the gameplay and just get it. Just, it's taking a little while here. Here we go. Trying to get the window capture going. This is posted by High Retro Game Board, so shout out to that guy, I guess. So, you uploaded footage of this game, and we're gonna look at it. Yeah, High Retro Game Board. So this is like what the box art kind of looked like. Was this a homebrew? This isn't a homebrew, is it? No, it's just. I was gonna say it says 2017. It's like, why does that say 2017? But yeah. Get ready. Go. But you see the graphics here. And the sound especially. The sound is actually really good for this little system. The sound's very, you know, it's very, you know, it's very just, it's very showy. Not showy, but like, it just sounds more full than other systems would. Like, it's really much more loud and much more explosive, I guess. And the game looks nice too. It sounds more like an arcade game than our systems would, which just kind of sound like beep beep boop bop. So that's that game. It's Wizard of War. It's actually called The Incredible Wizard, but the arcade version was Wizard of War. So there's that one. And so we're gonna stop talking about Balayage Arcade because fuck that. The Odyssey 2 was the follow-up to the Odyssey by Magnavox, and the Odyssey 2 was more like the Atari, and that it had it wasn't just like lights on a screen; it was like an actual graphics chip and audio chip, and it wasn't really that great. If you want to see just an example of how it wasn't very good, I'll just show like a screenshot of one of the games. Like, it was good for what it was. Like, it was just like compared to the Atari. You got a keyboard, that was cool. Didn't have that on the Atari, but I might just want to show a game for it. Show what the games kind of looked like. I want to show mostly Popeye, because Popeye is just atrocious on that system. Just looks horrible. Yeah, I'll show. Yeah, just look at this. Look at this sad game. This is when games go wrong. That's supposed to be Popeye. Yeah. Don't know about that one, Chief. So yeah. Not really a big fan of that one. I don't really know too much about it. I don't really care too much about that one, honestly. Ow. The Vectrex. Went to the Vectrex. The Vectrex was cool because it was a vector display. This was also very close to the arcade because it had the vector graphics like a lot of arcade games. And the Vectrex was just, I think it was just because it was probably just too expensive because it was its own monitor as well. And it had a controller similar to an NES controller actually, where it was like rectangular, it had buttons and a stick. I mean, the NES didn't have a stick, but like it was like a kind of like a D-pad, but it had buttons on the side and like it had more than just one button, like a whole keyboard or a keypad. It was like just 4 buttons. Like it wasn't like super complex. It was just 4 buttons, and it had its own monitor and it had vector graphics. And it was just it was a cool system. It had some arcade games like I think it had like a Scramble and Pole Position on them, like other games that were ported in there. It had a version of Asteroids called I think Mindstorm is what it was called. I think it was called Mindstorm. Let me look. Clean Sweep. It was like a Pac-Man type game. Here's a list of Vectrex games. Here we go. Yeah, Mindstorm was one of the ones. And Pole Position came out, which is really cool. And Spinball, like a pinball game. Star Castle was an arcade game. They ported them there. So, and of course Scramble. The almighty Scramble. So yeah, a really cool little system actually. But not popular enough for it to really do well, and not really my favorite, but still really awesome anyways. And then we have the Intellivision, which I actually played yesterday. Actually, I played some games, and it has some good games on it. But the controllers, both the Intellivision and ColecoVision had similar controllers, where it had a keypad, but they had the Intellivision had a disc, which you spun around, I think, or pressed on. And as you can probably tell, it was not very good. Can you not do that, dog? What is that noise? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. No one's even hearing it. What am I saying? But, yeah. They had similar controllers with keypads on them. And they weren't really the best things in the world. They were good for, like, setting options for games. Like, they weren't really that practical. You didn't really need that many buttons for, like, Pac-Man. Well, Pac-Man doesn't even use buttons, so you wouldn't need them anyways. But, yeah, the Intellivision had, I think it was, like, technically 16-bit. Had a 16-bit processor. And it came out at 79. And I'm just losing my train of thought here. The hardware was better than other systems, I believe. Like, the sound hardware, I think, was especially really good, because it used the AY chip, which was used in the Spectrum and other computers at the time. And the AY chip can do really, really good things. It can make a lot of great music. And you can just tell that it was, if you listen to any Intellivision music, you can tell that they knew that it was good for music. And as opposed to the Atari TIA, which is just kind of like a beat boop, mostly. It's not as good. It was made for sound effects. But the Intellivision, it's not that exciting, but I mean, it's cool. So I think my favorite, honestly, would probably just be the good old, like, Atari 2600. Like, it's not the best system, but it has, like, the widest variety of games. It has, like, a ton of different arcade ports, and just, like, it just had, like, a lot of stuff to, a lot of stuff to play through. But the Intellivision's cool, too, for its sound, and for its, cool exclusive games, like, Snafu, Thin Ice, as well. That one's kind of fun. There's some other ones, too, but those are, like, the ones I could think of. Oh, what was it? There's a pinball one, too. I forgot what it was called. But, yeah, there was some cool games for the Intellivision and the Atari. But the Atari was better. I don't know. Whatever. The Atari, yeah. What, guys? I don't know what I'm doing. I should be killed right now. But I just think that the Atari and also the 8-bit hardware was just really good because it was like, it replicated the arcade simplicity of the gameplay, and also the vector. Well, I mean, all the systems are kind of cool. Like, I'll say this though. Second generation much better than first generation, because first generation is just kind of like Pong, and that's really mostly it. Second generation, you get the arcade games, you get more of those ports, and then by third generation, you get like more original games, like more like games you can just like play longer, not just for high score. More about like the adventure. You get more story based games. You get that kind of stuff. But second generation is like the sweet spot. It's like you get a lot of great games and a lot of like great arcade ports. It was just that sort of it was a golden age of arcade games because there's just a ton of ports of them, and a lot of them were really good. So that's essentially all I got. I'm sorry this podcast kind of sucked. Why is the fucking Vectrex up there? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna list some things I want to improve on for the next podcast. I think next time I got plan out stuff better because I did not plan anything at all and I kind of rushed through this podcast. And I should also probably work on my speaking as well because I'm really bad at speaking. You can probably tell I speak very fast most of the time. I'm a very fast talker, and I don't always say things clearly either. But definitely should work on that. And I should also probably do it at a later time so people can actually see it. But it was fun doing this. It was interesting. It was different. But I'll keep those things in mind. The podcast, sorry if it was kind of shitty. It was my first go at a gaming-related podcast that was more focused. But definitely for my next one, I gotta work on speaking clearer and more slowly. Gotta work on just being more researched, being more prepared for these things, and doing it at a different time. And also cooking better food, because I'm not very good at cooking food. But I'll try that again next time. So, I think next time I might do, I don't know actually, I might do like a more fun thing to discuss, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll try and get something planned out. I don't know when it'll be even. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but yeah. That's just that. So I don't know. I feel kind of bad for shitting on my own podcast, but I just gotta have to because I mean, it's my first time doing a podcast like this, which is not like a meme podcast. This is like a more serious one. So yeah, that's all I got right now. So hope you enjoyed it for what it was. Hopefully it was at least funny, maybe, but also kind of interesting. Go check this stuff out yourself. I'd recommend researching all these things yourself because it's really interesting looking back on some of these old systems because a lot of them are just so weird and interesting, and a lot of them are really cool too. Like some of them have some great games on them and some great hardware. So just check them out for yourself if you want to. And that's all. Goodbye.